Sarber's in the middle. Wednesday here could seal it. Casimir finds Bissar.
It's now Bannon with a great ball in. Here's an opportunity. Palmer scores! Liam Palmer has scored for Sheffield Wednesday.
Last week we gave Oxford a goal advantage, we won the game. This week we decided to give Stoke City a man advantage. Guess what? We won the game as well. We remain in ninth but almost in striking distance with the top six. Do we dare to dream? Is top six even a possibility? Hello and welcome to the Wednesday Till I Die podcast. Merry Christmas everyone. I'm James Mappin. Alongside me it's not Santa, it is Matt Johnson. Matt, did you ever think at half time when we were a man down that we'd be sat here talking about a 2-0 win?
Interesting question, James, because normally I can give you like a snap answer on that. Interesting question. I suppose a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight is just prefaced by how shit Stoke were, to be perfectly honest with you. Apologies to any Stoke fans who are listening. But yeah, I mean, realistically, you could have seen that game going either way at half time, couldn't you? Like, still, even with like 10 men, which how much of a refreshing change is that to see as a Sheffield Wednesday fan going in with 10 men at half time with what 55 minutes played, like by the end of the game, and still thinking there's a chance in this. Like, it's not been that bad.
Yeah, it is different, isn't it? Like I said.
Mad.
But, well, we're going to be talking about that a lot more later on. But first of all, how are you, mate? Have you been up to much this weekend? So close to Christmas, of course.
No, not much. Obviously, I was up at Hillsborough yesterday, and then today the wind and rain down here has been very much sort of like playing havoc with actually getting out of the house, and also like mad rush of like last minute Christmas shopping. So yeah, I
mean, to be fair, Christmas does creep up on you, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's not like it's the same time every year. So, you know, Matt, it's a surprise to everyone.
James, you laughed at me when I mentioned it at the start of November. Christmas is round the corner. I was prepared. But yeah. It's basically, I've just been trying to stop my lad from burning the house down today, going stare crazy, just being in the house. How are you, James? Because you had a tough weekend.
It was really, really tough yesterday. Tough to actually get out of bed. Given I got in yesterday morning. It was work's Christmas do, which it was decent, to be fair. Yeah, do you know what? I don't go out drinking that much, but when I do, yeah, give it a good kick.
Do you
know what? I was the typical. I mean, I know what I wasn't, but on Mad Friday, there's two types of people. There's people that normally go out, and there's those people that you can 100% tell don't normally go out at all on a normal Friday, and have just gone out because it's work's Christmas do and stuff. So I was nearly in that bracket. Looks like we just lost Matt there for a second. Looks like he just jumped off. So I'll carry on without him until he joins us back in a second. I'm sure he'll be there. But yeah, do you know what? There's so much that we can talk about on yesterday's game. Matt, what were you doing there, Matt? What, you've just been pressing buttons or what?
Enough. I'd had enough. It's totally my fault. Yeah, sorry.
I've just been chatting away to myself there. For those audio listeners, Matt just decided just to close his the window down with the chat on. So
really difficult here, James. I'm halfway through my first drink, so it's only going to get worse, isn't it?
Definitely. Just stay away from that little X on top. Just don't press it. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I had Freddie's my youngest, his football at 9 o'clock yesterday morning, and then of course, do you know what? A lot can be said about the 12:30 kickoffs, and normally, like the Sunday kickoffs and stuff, Sunday 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whatever. I'm like, no, I don't need that. But like, I was a big 12:30 on a Saturday, massive no, especially for me. So I was on mute all yesterday. I just really, whenever I'm hungover, I mean, as a bloke, you can't really multitask at the best of times, can we? But
no,
I just could only think of one thing, and I had to take him to the match as well. Which, to be fair, he's a good omen. He's not. I don't think he's seen a defeat yet.
No,
he's seen quite a lot of draws.
He definitely hasn't seen one this year, has he?
No, he hasn't. So yeah, season tickets are out. Maybe I might have to dip in and getting one for next season. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. And even if you don't come to every game, James, you just ring your missus at half time. I mean, you'll have to stand 4 mile away from Hillsborough to get signal, but ring her at half time. Hey, do me a favour. We're 2-0 down here. Just bring him down. Thanks.
Yeah, on a Tuesday night, he's asleep. Don't matter. It'll be all right. Just leave him. I'll meet you at the gates. Like, just get him down.
I'll pass it back through turnstile. You'll be all right.
Yeah. Do you know what? Have you ever uttered the words "I'm never drinking again"? Because I was very close to it on Saturday morning.
No, I was having a conversation with somebody at the match about your pickle yesterday. Actually, like lad who I sit next to, and he was saying, "Oh, I'm always constantly saying like I'm never drinking again," and blah blah blah. And I just said, "No, I've never said I'm never drinking again. I've said that I am never drinking that or those again." Which my story that goes alongside that, I was 18, went on first sort of like lads' holiday, went to Nerja in Spain, walked into a bar. And decided it was a really, really smart idea to do 21 shots of Sambuca in half an hour. Yeah, it was not the smartest thing I've ever done in my life. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, it was not. It's really not a smart idea, mate. Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into the football chat. That's what everyone's here for. Everyone's not here about to listen to me feeling sorry for myself and you drinking 21 shots of Sambuca. We're here to talk about that amazing 2-0 win against Stoke yesterday. Yeah, starting lineup, that's where we always start. Beadle in goal, Super James Beadle, of course. Valerie Iorfa, Bernard, Max Lowe, Johnson, Charles, Bannon, Gassama, Windass and Smith. Only one change, Iorfa coming in for Jamal Lowe. What was your thoughts on that one? Because I think, I keep saying the same thing week in, week out. It's like, one change, it's all right. The players that he's picked are the players that are, if you had to give them some sort of rating for the season so far, those would probably be the highest rated players.
I've got one game. I've got one game in 14 months, which was the Preston game a couple of weeks ago, where I questioned what is that. Like looking at it, and that was because obviously we're missing Bannon for that. Yeah, looking at the squad yet again, really, really strong squad. I don't mind the rotation that's going on amongst the front three at the minute. I think the back line, when everybody is available, we know who that's going to be. But at the minute, you are expecting some level of rotation and changes, especially in the wing back areas where you could pretty much rotate between Valentin and Valerie pretty much all the time. I just think, I know we were going to come on to talk about this, James. I just think we've managed the squad so well, like this season. I think we've done so well in managing the way in which the minutes that players have, the games that they start. I mean, in particular, if I think back to those 3 game weeks that we've had in kind of like this run up to Christmas, and obviously we've got one coming up this week as well. We've just done so well, like in managing that. And it seems to be the first time in years that actually, up until obviously we heard about all the illnesses on Saturday, that you just kind of look at the squad and go, hang on, everybody's available. like apart from Famewo, we found out that Kabatsky was back in, training and could be available, but obviously the game come too soon. I think we'll probably see him. I would imagine Coventry's probably his first game that we're going to see him back. So that's quite an easy one to kind of like throw him back into. I just think we've done so well in managing that, and that is testament to the coaching staff and the medical team as well, who have taken an awful lot of flack over the past couple of years. Yeah,
I think you're right. So, Akin picked his up at Portsmouth, like in the game. Other than that, I mean, I think there's not been many big injuries. I mean, Shalabah, I can only put that down to lack of game time previously. Maybe he wasn't fit and stuff like that. That's not really down to what we've been doing. But yeah, I think Danny's probably looked at that, seen it, and gone, right, what's the best thing I can do? And yeah, he's going to take a bit of flack from those that say, always play your best 11 and everything else. But actually, he's playing the long game, and I think you have to do that sometimes, to be honest. In terms of the game, then, Matt, for me, We've talked about like the mental strength, and I felt like earlier on in the season we were saying you got a goal down, we lose the game. End of. Like it always happens. Yeah. When I was doing like the preview shows or speaking to opposition fans, I was like, they were saying, how do we beat us? And I'm like, score one goal, score the first goal, and you will just win.
Yeah.
Something has changed somewhere, because now there doesn't seem to be any sort of panic. There doesn't seem to be anything like that. I know we didn't go a goal down in this game, but we've lost a man. But it didn't really seem to change us at all. We weren't looking to feel sorry for ourselves. We were still attacking. We were still looking to get that goal and back to, maybe that is it. Like we just back to self really to go and get that win.
I just think there's been, I know we've referred to this game a couple of times in kind of like recent times. I just think you have to go back to how important that last minute winner was away at Coventry. We went down in that game when arguably we'd probably been the better side in the opening 20 minutes. And we saw a lot of that at the start of the season where we'd start off really well. A side would get a foothold in the game and score, and we'd struggle to get it back. I just think that last minute, almost pretty much last kick of the game winner from Shea Charles.
Yeah.
I just think that has just given so much belief. I mean, we saw a similar situation, didn't we, when we were in League One the first season, where we didn't get anything. We go down, we go to a losing position, and we were just never coming back until Josh Windass spooned one over the defender and then smashed it in the bottom corner.
Yeah.
It just feels a really, really similar situation. Like Sheffield Wednesday are in recent times, a very streaky club when they go behind as to whether they're going to come back and win the game or not. Like it felt like last season we go through such a spell of like, if a team conceded, oh my word, that's it. And then that carried on into this season. Whereas after that game at Coventry and the relief, and you could tell from Danny running down the touchline after that game, it's just bred confidence upon confidence upon confidence. And him and his coaching staff must have jumped on that and said, look, these were an outside shot for playoffs, FA Cup semi-finalists last year, expected to be at the top of the division, and you've pulled one out the fire against these. Now, if you can do it against this lot, you can do it against anyone. And that is just so true, isn't it? Like you can actually see that there's no panic or screaming at one another like there was earlier on in the season when we concede. Like Sunderland, they had like 2-3 really quick fire goals that just completely killed the game. Now, if we concede, we do actually look to then just get a foothold in the game and actually calm it down again, which is it's just night and day, isn't it? It's so good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think the other thing that was impressive yesterday is, how many times you might see it where a team's got a red card, they're already a goal to the good, and they just hold on for dear life, and, they manage to win the game and stuff like that. But to actually go out at 0-0 and not only score once, score twice, and really, Stoke will have been shell shocked at that point. The fans will have been thinking, at half time they'll be thinking, we've got a really good chance of getting his first win in quite a long time here, and away from home. They were like, they would have been licking their lips. But what did you think at half time? Because for me, I was just thinking, let's take a point and let's just move on. That maybe that's me being glass half full, but I was like, a draw would be a decent result in this situation that we find ourselves in.
I think the fan in me thought exactly the same, James. Sat in the ground, I'm convinced I thought exactly the same. I did turn to somebody who's two kind of like seats to the left of me and just say, like, these are still there for the taking. They're not like a great side, because I think that was the overriding thing that came out a lot of that first half before the sending off was how poor the football was on show from both sides. I think with the benefit of hindsight, I think actually going down to 10 men suited us. And I know that sounds a bit mental, but it allows us to kind of like play a little bit more like we do naturally away from home. It allows us to sit in, and actually the expectation on the crowd is completely taken off, because we talked about, we sat here last week and said, we need a performance at home, not just the result. We need a performance. We need to be attacking. We need to be front-footed. I don't think you could argue we were really that at any point in the game yesterday, including with 11v11. Actually, when you go back down to 10, then everybody in the stadium's expectation is completely reset. And actually, sitting in and not actually going to press the ball and not tear-arsing it out when their centre-halves have got it, actually forced us to sit there and say to Stoke, go on then, if you're good enough, break us down. Yeah. And they weren't. And it allowed everybody to kind of then get on the like side of the players and really supporting them. Yeah, I just thought that, I think with the benefit of hindsight, I think it suited us. But at half-time, 100% I would have taken a point, like really seriously.
Do you know what I spoke about, kind of the atmosphere and stuff? And I always said, I reeled off all the games where the atmosphere has been great. And, you go Peterborough, Arsenal, Brighton, Newcastle. And it's a big thing in all those 4 games, the huge underdog.
Yep.
And as soon as we go down to 10 men, we instantly become the underdog, no matter who you come up against. And again, I think that just helps in, like you said, it's just the expectations gone from the people that are maybe a little bit negative and stuff like that. You've got the thing to come back on and say, we're down to 10. Do you know what I mean? So I think it just massively helps. That red card then for Deshan Bernard, I don't know about you, but I've not got any complaints whatsoever.
No.
I think he put. Do you know what? I think he put wrong boots on before he kicked off because. Do you know what? We talk about Deshan Bernard and so highly of him, but Christ Almighty, he got out at wrong side at bed.
When he has a horror,
do you know what? He will walk into training. He's walked over 3 grates. He's walked under road signs. Mirrors broken. Like literally every bad luck thing that could have possibly happened because fucking hell, he was shite, wasn't he?
Hey, come on with his shirt on the right way around though. That's a good start for him.
Sure, he'd be better off if he'd have had it on back to front, to be honest. But anyway,
I mean, when he does have a shocker, Deshan Bernard, doesn't he? Like I'm thinking. Think back to that penalty that he gave away. We know we're coming on to handballs that should have been a penalty, but if you think about that fucking Deshan, actually, I tell you what. That Deshan Bernard one and Barry Bannon were carbon copies. Both of them realised can't get there and sticks out, all the rest of it. But if you look at that decision making that he made there, giving away a penalty 5 minutes after coming in from half time, and then he wasn't great really for the remainder of the game. Yesterday, he never looked comfortable. Even before he made the first mistake, he never looked fully settled or comfortable into the game. And I don't know whether that's the wind. I don't know whether that's the conditions in terms of like the pitch and the playing conditions. I have no idea. He just didn't look his normal, calm and composed self that we're often used to really seeing from him.
It threw him, didn't it, really? It just threw him.
Yeah. I mean, let's be also very honest. It's a fucking lovely job for him. 2-game suspension over Christmas. Oh, yes, please.
Do you know what? I think we need to. Well, we don't, but there could be some people reviewing his betting. Betting patterns or whatever on that one.
With the first,
either that or his missus has said to him, "Fucking hell, he's double booked himself." Do you know what I mean? Like,
he's looking at a proposal. He needs a couple of days to go to New York or somewhere to do it. So he's just thought, right, well, I can't book work off, but I can do something. I'll get these sorted.
Yeah, James has just said town with a sickness.
I think it's just like. I mean, let's deal with the first one while we're on him, kind of like Deshan Bernard and his performance. That first yellow card, the ball seems to like just die in front of him. Now, I couldn't work out whether it was just in the air before it got to him or whether it hits the floor or whatever. On first viewing, I was convinced it was a red card, like absolutely convinced. But actually on second viewing, I mean, he's a long old way out. Yeah. I mean, Shea Charles is no slouch. We saw his finishing earlier on in terms of Tom Cannon when he was cleaning and seemed to just make a right mess of it. I'm not sure. I think probably a yellow card was fair. I mean, if I was of a Stoke persuasion, it's a red card all day long. Like you would be screaming at it. I mean, the second one, I can't save him at all. The second one, it's pantomime season, isn't it? He's behind you type of thing. Like the touches are awful. He then goes to make a tackle. He then gets his laces caught in the tackle, which makes the tackle look far worse because the player's legs dragged back with him. Yeah. It's just, I think if nothing else, that probably did us a favour. Because at some point, based off of those first 2 errors, there was something coming which probably would have been a little bit further in the game. And actually, it gave a chance to somebody who I know we're going to come to talk about later. But yeah, it's again. I hope he has a great Christmas.
What's that? Is that his 3rd red card for us?
Second this season, isn't it? It's his 2nd this season.
Yeah, but I'm sure he got one last season when we all that one where the ref didn't blow the whistle for ages.
Yeah,
he played advantage.
Bristol. Yeah, Bristol.
So that's his his 3rd red card.
Sorry, James. Just while you're on that, I'm just going to address George's in the chat. Is Max Lowe to blame for the pass? No, no, no.
Yeah, I mean, he just couldn't get to grips with the wind. Like, no. And I know he played havoc for most, but he desperately didn't know what to do with it. And I mean, look,
yeah.
I mean, to be fair, like some of the passes that we were playing, like going long, just what is the point? Like the ball was going everywhere. If anything, we should have done what Windass tried to do and just shoot on sight. Did you notice as well, by the way? So obviously we got turned round at kickoff. Well, we thought we got turned round.
Yeah.
But they had the kickoff.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, have we decided to kick the other way? I mean, I'm guessing obviously you're thinking, well, the wind can't get any worse, but it might get a little bit better in the second half, and in which case you don't want to be kicking into the wind. But then again, I think, to be fair, either was difficult. Do you know what I mean? Because every pass that we played just seemed to run through to the goalie. But you know,
and that was it, James. There was a little spell in the first half where I think it was James Beadle who cleared it, and there was a lad, the lad who was sat next to me, watching just header followed by header, followed by header, followed by miscontrol, followed by smack the ball back up in the air, and then it got booted out for a throw. I think the passage of play must have gone on for no longer than about 10, 15 seconds. And we just turned around and went, someone wants to try putting this on the floor here. Like, it might be a bit easier. Like,
I think the pitch is a bit bobbly as well at this time of year, which is not helping either. I think it was just a mixture of both things. You know, you can't play in the air. It's difficult playing it getting it on the ground. Yeah, and it was just a combination of both. But no, there's nothing on me for that red card. Yeah. No questions asked.
None whatsoever. One of the decisions that the referee had to make yesterday, that was right.
Yeah. The other thing as well, we're kind of skipping on a little bit here, but we're still in 9th after the other games. We're only 3 points off the top 6. We've got Borough coming up next on Boxing Day. You know, they're only 3 points ahead of us. I mean, we'd have to absolutely spank them to go ahead of them on goal difference, not putting it past us. But, you know, did you ever think it would be in this situation, in this position, should I say, come Christmas? Because it's a weird one for me, because I always said 10th at the end of the season is a good result. But I never thought that we'd be here now. I kind of thought we'd be like, you know, 15th, 16th, and then just put a bit of a spurt on at the end, and like we always do, finish strong, and 10th, 11th, 12th, something like that. I didn't really think we'd be like at any point in the conversation for, you know, top 6.
I think that's a really interesting point, because I think if you'd have said that to us at the start of the season, I mean, both me and you sat here and predicted kind of a mid-table finish, didn't we? I think to be where we are now, a lot of stars have had to align for right from the start, and they have, if we're being completely honest. The biggest one for me is how poor the rest of the division is around us. Like the rest of honestly, I knew that there was going to be a drop off from last year in terms of the quality at the top was very, very high, which then all bunches it down together. But the quality in the division is poor. Like, I'm not going to sit here as a Sheffield Wednesday fan and say, oh, the division's great. You know, it was like it was when there was us, Newcastle, Aston Villa, all the rest of it. No, it's not. It's a shit division. It is poor, which I think has helped. I think the injury situation at Sheffield Wednesday, and I know I've touched on it a little bit, has helped massively, because how long has it been since we've not really had an injury crisis at Sheffield Wednesday? This time last year, we were just about to go into a centre-half crisis. Yeah. So, you know, we haven't really had any major issues. You also actually look at that. I mean, me and you sat here over those opening 7 games, and for sections of it felt kind of like trying very much to, again, sorry, Peter, manage your expectations. But, you know, 1 win in, 7? Wasn't doing anybody any favours. And then we did say that the run would ease up and the teams coming would get easier. And we've taken advantage of it. Like, that is the long and the short of it. You need to put yourself into a position where you are able to go and carry on that good work that we did last year, and you've got to hope that some things go for you, and ultimately they have. And I think we were saying just before recording, weren't you, 22 games in, no one can argue now that we don't deserve to be where we are. And actually, if you look at the teams below us, I would argue, if you look at the teams below us, yeah, we do deserve to be where we are. We have been better than them this season. I'm not saying that we've been better than them or we've got a better squad than them or anything like that, but we have been better than them so far this championship season.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the form as well. I mean, we're 6th when you look at the last 6 form table. 4 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat. 13 points from a possible 18 in that. I mean, you look at, like, in terms of previous results in the championship, kind of at Christmas, 23rd last season. Obviously, we had 2 seasons in League One, but then in 2020, 23rd again. We were 3rd back in 2019, and we all know what happened in that season, don't we?
Oh, Jesus Christ! It actually come up on my timeline the other day, where it was like, I can't remember what it was. It was something which was literally just a I think it was a comment or a status that I'd written, which was, "I fucking hate Stoke," and that was it. That was it. Boxing Day 2019. sent at something stupid like 5:10, where I was clearly still absolutely seething about it as well.
Yeah, Sheffield Wednesday ruining Boxing Days ever since 2019.
But
there was a great Boxing Day, obviously way back when, but that wasn't one of them.
No, but you're right, James. I mean, that is a really, really good position to be in. It's the highest league position we've been in for a long, long while. And again, I would argue at this point in time, I think we deserve it. Like, have we played well enough to merit being ninth? I'd argue probably not. But we've taken advantage and we've won. We've picked up results and we've won games that we needed to. We're ninth for a reason. And, you know.
And what is it now? I think we've beaten one team above us and we've lost to two teams below us. I think that's right. Obviously, quite a few draws thrown in there. But you look at that and you think, well, actually, that we are. There's not many games where I feel like we didn't deserve to get the points that we got. And similarly, I don't think there's that many games really where we didn't get a lot. And we should have, if you know what I mean. There might be a few. QPR, for example. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But actually, when you look at it, when you look at the three defeats at the start of the season, we were awful. We deserved to get beat. You could look, Luton perhaps deserved a bit out of that one. QPR, you could argue on the fact that we've gone down to 10 men. You know, we perhaps sneaked an extra couple of points than what we thought we'd get. But actually, I think it does all balance itself out. I don't put us down as being lucky or unlucky as a team over the course of the season, really. But yeah, I mean, some of the other positions at Christmas, if people were wondering, 17th back in 2018, 2017 it was 15th, then we were 6th, 7th, that was 16 and 15, and then before the director came in, the emperor, whatever else you want to call him,
dictator,
that's it, yeah. 14th, 22nd and 21st. So there's not been many seasons where we've actually been better than where we are currently. Let's talk about the main man himself. I've seen quite a few people in the comments already mentioning him. Mark Green, couple of great saves from Beadle and one from Bazza. Yep, Alex Young. How good was James Beadle yesterday? Definitely man of the match. Great double save. Then the penalty. He's gone to talk about the referee. But yeah, James Beadle. We keep talking about him every single week. And I feel like he's making saves that are as good as a goal pretty much every game. 100%. You know, Super James Beadle in goal. But just like the save that he made from Cannon, as the ball comes in, it's a goal.
It's ludicrous, isn't it? Is it like? I mean, let's be real about it. It's a goal, and from where I sit, was almost bang in line with the delivery, and you could see the arc of the ball. It's like when, if you go back and watch that Sam Winnall's goal against Birmingham many moons ago, Jack puts a ball in, and you can see it cut out the entire defence and the goalkeeper. Cannon's run is outstanding. He does everything that you'd want a striker to do in terms of getting a really solid connection on it, heads it downward, doesn't head it up, doesn't try and glance it. The first one, the positioning is great, let alone the fact that he flicks it up. It doesn't just hit him, like he actually flicks it up. Yeah. The second one is an unbelievable reaction to land, locate where the ball is, and then swat it away from the striker who is advancing to tuck in the rebound as well. Yeah. It's just it's a frightening save. And again, I don't know if you remember, James, you will do, obviously, with the amount of people, obviously, you speak to and obviously how much we're on social media. Last January and February, when we brought him in, there was some who were saying that he's not better than Cameron Dawson. Yeah. I mean, that argument is done now. There's no ifs or buts. That argument was done by March. But
who's
Cameron Dawson? But do you remember after the Huddersfield one where he went all proper, like, I'm going to be a centre mid for the fourth Huddersfield goal, and decided, it was a shocker.
But you know what? He's learned. And since he's been here, so this is 6 months or however many months it was last season, back in the last season, 5 months, and then to where we are now. Yes, he has made mistakes. Leicester is another prime example. Yeah. But do you know what? He makes them mistakes once, maybe twice, whatever. I know he did it at Norwich as well. Yeah. He hasn't done that since. So you can only applaud him for actually... You can only learn... The other thing you can do from your mistakes is learn from them. Do you know what I mean? And he's done exactly that. Whatever he's needed to do, he's worked on it. and he's not doing them week after week after week, if you know what I mean.
100%, because that's the thing is, James, how many has he made this year? I can't pick out a moment like that from this year.
He's fucking taking people on.
He's honestly, I mean, for me, he's the outstanding goalkeeper in the division. I know the other side of the city have got one that they rave about, and there are a couple, Johansson yesterday as well. For me, he's a championship goalkeeper currently who is destined to play regular first team top division football in the not too distant future. I really hate to say this, but it won't be with us. Like, sadly, it won't be with us. But I mean, the thing, I think, aside from the ludicrous saves and how smart, like how kind of like much he's developed as a player, it's his attitude that is the best thing about him for me. Technically, yes, he's way ahead of others of a very similar age profile. It's his self-confidence, it's his level-headed nature, it's his maturity that is way above the young man that he is. Simply put, he is an outstanding goalkeeper, and we are very, very fortunate to have him.
Do you know what? Yesterday he would have been like a dog with two dicks, wouldn't it? Really,
100%.
I've been walking around like fucking. Because, and do you know as well? I loved it how after there was that save, there was also the penalty. Obviously, we'll come on to in a second. But after both of them, the players came over to him, and then at full time as well, they all recognised like it was. He played a huge part in it. By, like I said, the save, penalty, all the other things as well that he did. Just, and I think the other thing he learned is to waste a bit of time. I know Bannon were telling him, just go down. Do you know what I mean? Like, just calm it down a little bit. And yeah, he's, like you said, I think we are really, really lucky to have him, because it's, the whole game, there was an almost certain goal. Obviously, there was one yesterday. There's been one at Derby. There've been quite a few saves, like
Preston, where he comes flying out. Yeah,
he's like saves inside the 6-yard box, which I don't know whether he puts the player off. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know what it is that he's doing. I mean, the one yesterday, you could argue it's straight at him, and I do get that to a certain extent. But you've got to put yourself there as a goalkeeper and be ready. How many times have you seen headers like that just creep in? And the fact that he was just, like you said, so alert to actually get there and swat the ball away. So yeah, really impressed by him, and by far man of the match.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was, again, I did feel very sorry for the other performers who were on the pitch, because there were a number of players yesterday who you could have given, like 8s or 9s even to in a Sheffield Wednesday shirt yesterday. But I mean, James Beadle, for what he did and the impact that he had on the game, was just streets ahead of everybody. And you can see from that why, ultimately, he won't be here long term unless something drastic happens in the next 6 to 12 months, because he is, for a goalkeeper, he's so good at this level, and he is so young as well. He's a Premier League goalkeeper in waiting.
Yeah, just on that penalty, did you think you were gonna save it? Like, because sometimes I get a bit of I don't know, second, like an aura. Like I just know that it's going to happen. And do you know what? The fact that the penalty wasn't even a penalty, I just felt like we're probably going to save this, because I think everything that could have gone wrong for Stoke went wrong yesterday. And I'm like, this is just going to compound it if they can't even score from the penalty spot.
100%, James. I've just talked about, the fact that we were all 8s and 9s, and Beadle was probably a 12 yesterday, and all the rest of it. For how good we were, let's not try and beat around the bush. Stoke were terrible. Like, they could still be playing until next Christmas, and James Beadle would still be making saves, and they'd still be missing penalties, and they'd still be, not creating the chances that they should have done.
Do you know what? I went to see Disney on Ice today, and I think they're number 10. I saw him out there yesterday because do you know for how frustrating we get about Gassama and Masaba? Christ Almighty, he was really, really frustrating. Like, not from our perspective, of course. No. He got in some great positions, and he almost looked. It was one of those. I didn't know people were around him. And to be fair, we always kind of doubled up on him. There's always like Charles coming in as that second player. One person stand him up, and someone else come in and kind of nick the ball off him. It worked to a T every single time. Actually, on the penalty, was it a penalty or not for you? Because
sorry, James, which one are we talking about here?
Sorry, so there was two. There's one that's not a penalty that then was, and then there's also one that is a penalty that wasn't. I'm talking about the one that was, So actually, the one that was given.
So the one that was given that wasn't a penalty, but was given as a penalty. That one. Okay, cool. Just so I'm on board, James. That's all.
I'm lost over it already.
The actual penalty itself, I thought, was struck really well, but at a very nice height and not in the corner. I suppose what Cannon is banking on is that Beadle goes the wrong way. The problem is with James Beadle, very similar to how, to be fair, I was saying that he's much better than Cameron Dawson. One of the things that Cameron Dawson did have going for him was he was an outstanding penalty saver. Like, he was outstanding at penalties and facing penalties. He's massive in the goal, James Beadle.
Yeah, like an octopus, isn't it?
It's when you, if for those of you who haven't watched Inside the Match Day yet, go back and have a look because the camera's down the other end. When Beadle actually sets himself, it doesn't look like you could fit a fag paper between his head and the crossbar because you're looking at him thinking, how big is he? And then
you know what? That's the big difference. You know, you play in amateur football and you see a penalty, you see someone stood in the goal, or if I just went and standing a goal, I'm thinking, you just score every single time. Like, how do the goalkeepers actually stop any of these shots? Why do the strikers, as specifically, make it so damn difficult? Like, it's easy. The goal's massive.
Well, it says James in the chat has put about Beadle's positioning and his footwork. I highlighted it a minute ago. I'm going to highlight it again for this penalty. Again, when you go back and watch the penalty, he doesn't dive flat. He dives outwards and forwards, a lot like in front of the line. So actually, rather than he's jumping, but he doesn't do that thing that we used to see, which Cameron Dawson made so successful in that terms of taking 2 steps forwards and coming out almost to meet the ball. James Beadle very much, he gets himself set, bounces and jumps around, and then gets himself really stationary and alert before a penalty is taken. He's done this even with the ones that he's missed, and then launches himself at a side, like just goes that way. But he doesn't go flat along the goal, he goes out. So what we saw yesterday is when he makes that save, you know, we've talked about him palming balls out into dangerous areas at certain points this season, which is probably the only criticism that you could level against him. But he actually is going outwards and the ball is naturally going to go away from the goal because of the way that he's diving and the angle that he's diving. It's all these little details, I think, that just makes him such a great goalkeeper. And the penalty save was, again, just to cap off a fantastic performance. I mean, he deserved the clean sheet yesterday, as did the defensive line in front of him, who I thought was excellent yesterday.
But was it even a penalty in the first place?
God, no.
Because I'm just watching it and thinking, what's he given there? Like, I thought it was for handball at first. Yeah. Kind of like pointing, like holding his hand like this, and I thought, like, if anything, their lads handballed it. Yeah. But yeah, apparently it's for a bit of a shirt pull. I mean, do you know what? You could have given him a 9 out of 10 for his dive, the way that he kind of threw himself down on the ground. And I just feel like a lot of people have been saying it's because he didn't give the other one. Yep. Now, can a referee actually do that? Like, I mean, he can't admit it, surely, can he?
But James, me and you have both played amateur football, and you know you can get into a referee's head at that point by just shouting at him, "Do your job, just do your job." I was once told growing up that that's the most degrading thing that you can say to a referee. If you go in really seriously and honestly and just go, "Referee, do your job," I mean, to be fair, that would properly sting. But if you are ever looking for I need to make up for an error that I have made earlier decision, that is it. Because Gallagher goes across Lowe, and Lowe does what every good defender is told to do, which is get touch tight to him, which he does. He just puts his arm out onto Gallagher, I think just to kind of like, I suppose, just to check where he is. Yeah. And Gallagher goes up and is nowhere near the ball. That's the other thing from Gallagher is he's absolutely in no danger of ever winning the header. Even if he has a free run and there's no defender, he's not getting over as you said, the octopus that is James Beadle in goal. They're about the same height, and Beadle can use his hands. So I think James Beadle's going to be all right. The ball then goes out towards, like, it was the edge of the box, wasn't it? Yeah. And then he blows the whistle after the Stoke players retrieve the ball, turned, and he's facing up. Even when they zoom in on Gallagher on the floor, he's not really appealing. He's just kind of looking around, going, "Yeah, no, he's tugged the shirt." It's just. I mean, it was one of a catalogue of errors he made yesterday by the man with the whistle. But that was 100%, I need to make up for a decision. And it did feel after that Bannon one wasn't given any opportunity that he gets to give one, he's going to give one.
Do you know what, that Bannon one, it was so funny as well.
Fucking hell.
Right, so I'm sat, as everyone knows, like pretty much bang in line with 18-yard box on the north stand. I don't think there's a better seat in the house to see that from where I was. And he's on to make the header. And yeah, he's not got there. He's hit his hand. And at that point, he's like a sharp intake from absolutely everyone. And then we're just waiting for the hand to go 100%,
out. Yeah.
And it doesn't. And he just gets up and he brushes the muck off his
in
front of his shirt. And he's probably thinking, fuck, I've got away with that big time. But then I think the funniest thing was after that, everyone's going, handball.
Oh, my God.
So, I mean, if the ref didn't know he'd messed up, he certainly knew after that. But could you see it playing from where you was?
And all I could see was the back of Bannon's shirt. And you could see it. I think the big giveaway was two things. One, Bannon is completely on his own. Absolutely nobody around. If that was in a crowd of bodies, okay, I can understand how that gets missed. Closest player to him is about 10 yards away. He's nowhere near him.
You could ask, what's he doing trying to head it?
Because the other thing is, if he actually just has a look, Bannon, it's just running through to James Beadle. He's just going to pick it up. It was the trajectory on the ball of it literally just dropping stone dead and then just trickling into Beadle's hands. And Beadle comes kind of jogging out. He doesn't tear out to make the save or try and stop it. He literally just jogs out to pick it up and he's like, all right, let's get rid of this quick. Let's get rid of it. And then because he does, doesn't it? He just boots the ball as far as he can up the other end of the pitch. And then it's, as you rightly said, it's Bannon wiping the mud off his shirt. The best part of that replay, for again anybody who hasn't seen it, go back. He actually wipes his hand, he's actually wiping his hand as he's walking away, as if to be oh shit, I'll just get rid of that there, get rid of that evidence.
Do you know what? No, football way back when it was first invented, they used to play with white gloves on.
Yeah,
and that's how they knew if you'd handballed it.
He'd have been in shit yesterday.
Because the pitches were obviously that bad, way back when they were mud baths. Yeah, if you'd got mud on your gloves, you'd obviously handballed it. So good job, Bannon weren't wearing white gloves yesterday.
Also, James, just while we were talking about that, apologies to any Stoke fans who have got 44 minutes in. It is a shocker of a decision, and if I was in your position, I would have been driving home back to Stoke, fucking seething about that decision, let alone the performance, but that decision in particular, I would have been going absolutely ballistic.
Well, I can't wait until that referee refs another Stoke game, because I think there'll be an inquest they'll be asking for the FA or the AFL to change it before it gets to it. Have you seen this? I mean, look, it was absolutely terrible, and just for once we're actually on the good side of it, of a little bit of luck. But yeah, I think the ref were terrible for both sides, if I'm being
agreed.
If I'm being honest. Let's talk about the goal then. I mean, the first one, Windass's goal, Baz won't get any stats for it, but the pass for Valerie was absolutely sublime. Inch perfect between the defenders. Valerie runs onto it, looks up. You see him look up as well as he gets into the box. Windass, we know his movement's great, gets to the front post. I mean, the keeper, I know I kind of bigged him up, the lad from Rotherham.
Yeah.
He's got to do better.
He should get there.
Yeah, but Windass gets himself into that position, sticks the ball in. 7th goal of the season now. Already equalled Ugbo and Masaba's tally from last season as well. Obviously, Masaba finished as leading goal scorer. I think it was 7 in the league, 8 in all competitions. Windass has just moved on to 7 overall and 7 in the league. And we've still got another half of the season to go. Just a really good goal, and I didn't really expect it at all.
Yeah, I think that interchange in the wide area. So when just before you've mentioned the Bannon pass, which is you're 100% right to do. So such a well-weighted ball. It reminded me yesterday of that. Do you remember the Millwall one away last year where he just slipped it straight into Anthony Masaba's path? It was such a well-weighted ball. I think I was really impressed in the initial where we obviously we were retaining possession at that point really well when we actually got further up the pitch. When we did move further up the pitch, we were actually retaining the possession really well and actually building pressure, which is really rare for a side with 10 men versus 11 to actually be able to do that. it was as Bannon receives the ball, Charles then runs past him and continues on his run. Now, how many years have we seen Bannon open his body up and spray a raking 30-yarder in the air to Marvin Johnson to take a touch to whip the ball in?
Yeah.
I thought it was such clever football that Bannon recognised that actually the more dangerous option is to go back into that space vacated by Shea Charles and then look to reverse that ball, because we had an overload down that side, which again, 10 versus 11 should never happen. You should never have an overload in any area of the pitch. Yeah. Valerie does really well to hold his run. Ball's great. Again, if I was of a Stoke persuasion, I'd be going fucking ballistic at my centre halves. How Josh Windass is allowed to get in goal side in front of both of them. Johansson should do better. Bundles over the line. But yeah, really good goal from our perspective.
From where I'm sat as well, you can't really see it go in. Like, you just think, I didn't really know what happened, or you're just looking through the body of players. But there were so many like wheels away straight after it, and obviously everyone else was cheering. They knew it had gone in. But yeah, just a really, really well-worked goal. Also, as well, we made the sub at half-time. Now, I don't think it would have made the sub had we not gone down to 10 men. But actually, do you know what? As much as we've been saying Smith's been great this season, it wasn't working in the wind. The ball just wasn't getting up to him. I think it was just, you couldn't really, the passes weren't getting to him. Not him actually controlling it. It was just the ball just wouldn't get to him at all. So actually, initially I thought, Smith off? Like, what's he doing that for? But in hindsight, looking at it, yeah, great decision, because it forces to play different football, which clearly with the weather conditions, it wasn't possible to do. Which I suppose, from a manager's perspective, is really frustrating, because you've worked on something all week for literally the weather, just to play havoc.
To have your best laid plans put down by rain and wind.
Exactly.
What a stupid game this is, isn't it? I know, because you were wanting to touch on this, and I know we've talked about it on Extra Time, James, but I do think it is worthwhile talking about here, because you've mentioned kind of like that being Josh Windass's like 7th goal and all the rest of it. He has been managed so well this season, like so well, and we mentioned this right at the top. We have got the best out of him as a result. Like, I joked about it last week that he's due an injury. Like, I was like, he's due an injury. And what happened yesterday? Run your nuts off for 20 minutes of that second half, and then we're going to bring you off. He got his goal. We brought him off. Again, the ability, I think both me and you said on that Extra Time, the ability from Josh Windass has never been in question, but actually a large portion of it might have been surrounding like a little bit to do with attitude or whatever, which I think he addressed really, really well in that Friday press conference as well, when he spoke about it, in terms of like actually giving a little bit of an insight into his mentality behind it. Like, well, if I don't go out and believe that I'm the best, who else is going to? Yeah. So I actually thought that was, if you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to it, because as ever, Josh Windass speaks really, really open and honestly about it. I just think we're actually using him really, really well now. And that's a huge credit to him and also the coaching staff, that we are now getting the best out of this player. Realistically, if he didn't already have a target for the season, he should be readjusting it, because he's going to get to 10 goals. He's going to get to 10 goals, and hopefully by, end of January, it could be. Like, I mean, it's not an impossible milestone, is it, with the way he's playing at the minute?
If you look as well, has he scored in 7 different games as well? I can't remember him getting a brace.
Yes, he's not scored 2 in. He's not scored 2 in 1.
Because like, you look at, for example, Latilaf, who plays for Middlesbrough, obviously we're playing next. Yep. I think he's got something like 8 or 9 goals, but he scored 4 in 1. Do you know what I mean?
Cannon for them as well yesterday, didn't he? You did on the preview show. Yeah. So there, you look at numbers and you think, oh, fucking hell, he's got 8 goals. But actually, if he's got 4 in 1 and then he's scored 2 braces, you think, well, actually, he's only scored in 3 games. So for the fact that he's scored in 7, and I think Tom, who does all the analysis on Twitter, he actually, saying how Josh Windass's goals have been important this season, as in they've either won us a game or got us into the lead. Whereas other goals that certain players have scored, if you score the 4th goal in a 4-0 win, that's not as good as obviously scoring the only goal in a 1-0 win, for example. But yeah, I mean, just looking at numbers as well, he's getting so many shots off. 42 shots he's had so far this season, which, in comparison to any other player that we've had, Michael Smith, I mean, that's quite impressive as well, to be fair. 30 shots given the amount of minutes. Barry Bannon's had 29.
We'll gloss over the fact that he's got only 3 on target. However, 3 shots on target.
His conversion ratio is good, isn't it? His conversion ratio is really good.
His goals to shots on target ratio is 1.
Yep.
It cannot be better.
Can't argue.
He is top of that metric, 100%. But yeah, he's, I suppose you could argue playing more games and getting that number of shots off when it's a per 90 number. You're having to do it, regularly, aren't you? It's easy to come off the bench and have a shot in 10 minutes and really does your stats a world of good. But yeah, long may it continue with Joshua Windass. Pato's goal. It's his first. Do you know what? It's his first league goal since Peterborough in the second leg at Hillsborough to make it 5-1. And if you're not counting that one because that was a playoff game, his last one in actual league fixture was the end of April at home to Exeter in a 2-1 win. So he went. I didn't realise he went for the whole of last season. I know he didn't feature much, but he didn't even score a goal last season, which is mad. I know he scored twice in the cup. Obviously in that win against Grimsby. Obviously, when he did the little fishing celebration and really wound up some of the Grimsby fans. But, again, the tenacity from Valerie on the right-hand side going into that challenge. Then Charles comes flying in, which, again, brave. He's on a yellow card at this point. I know it's not really a challenge, but, he sees the ball, wants to get it. And then, gets to the byline. And we see that goal so many times, don't we? Getting to that byline and then cutting the ball back. And to be fair, it's pretty much a carbon copy of the first one in terms of getting to the front post. I mean, this one's a cleaner goal. But yeah, Pato, right place, right time, great movement as well. That kind of going to the front post and backing off a bit and then darting in behind. Defenders no idea where he is.
Nope.
And yeah, 2-0. Thank you very much. And we could all sigh a huge sigh of relief at that point because we're forgetting that all these kind of Bannon balls and the cannon shot from inside 6 yard, they're all happening whilst it's still 1-0. So to the fact that we're 2-0 up at that point, we were like, a bit of breathing space.
I think the ball from Marvin Johnson initially from the free kick to Jan Valery is an unbelievable ball given the conditions which we've mentioned about 50 times today.
Was it windy on Saturday?
Yeah, apparently so. Yeah, apparently so. You judge it by Bannon's hair. If you're sorry, I couldn't help myself, James. It was too easy.
Love you, Baz. Love you.
I was going to say it's a fucking good job he didn't actually make connection with the header because it had just skimmed straight through to Beadle. I think the ball from Marvin Johnson out to Jan Valery is outstanding because it completely cuts out their left back. The turn from Jan Valery is. I don't want to be harsh to him here. It's interesting. I think on commentary they make it out like it's an unbelievable piece of skill, and I was like, I'm not so sure here. Again, I'm just gonna sound like such a fanboy here. Shay Charles, man, if you ever wanted a 5-second clip of what his game is in a nutshell, it's that clip, isn't it? He wants it more than a centre-half who has got it's 70-30 in the centre-half's favour, and he still makes it his. He then gets the ball under control when it's behind him and bobbling. He then looks up, sends the defender for hot dog the wrong way, gets a half a step on him, delivers an inch-perfect ball for a tap-in for Callum Patterson. It's an outstanding goal, and it is, again, for me yesterday in that moment, I was just looking at him thinking, I am praying with every single fibre of my being that new manager at Southampton does not recall him, because in that little spell yesterday, he showed his quality and why he is, again, same as James Beadle, a future top division player.
Hey, they drew 0-0 yesterday, Southampton. So
I don't need him then. He's shit.
Yeah, they're all right without him. They don't need him at all. But yeah, I agree. Does it not frustrate you that 2 of our best players are on loan? Or is that just par for the course? That's why you bring the loan players in.
Yeah. It's par for the course at the minute with where Sheffield Wednesday are. Now, if Sheffield Wednesday were flush with cash, I would be going out and spending whatever it takes to get both of those players. Not because of the way that they've just performed in a Sheffield Wednesday shirt, because that is outstanding, but because of the age profile of both of the players and because of where they're at in their career. Because realistically, if you are an ambitious club, you can go and get those players now. Like, we've seen that with other players of that kind of level and ilk around the division. Obviously, living in Birmingham, I hear every 30 seconds when you breathe near a Birmingham City fan that they've got Jay Stansfield. But they went out and secured a package of what, £9 million with a first refusal option for Fulham and loads of incentives that make it really attractive for Fulham.
Yeah.
There is nothing to suggest that we couldn't do something similar with Southampton. Were the funds available to us? Could we do the same with Brighton? I think Brighton and James Beadle would probably be more inclined to do it just because of the depth that they've got in goalkeeping positions currently. If you had the money, you would go out and buy them. Where we are at the moment, you've just got to sit back and enjoy them whilst they're here. Because
the other thing, like we were talking about Pierce Charles, like the Beadle one, like goalkeepers don't go for as much money as what the strikers do and stuff like that, which is mad as well when you look at how many goals he seems to have prevented since he's been here, which we've been saying it's as good as a goal, especially they've been in key points in games as well. It's not been, like we said, it's not a save to keep it at 4-0 or anything like that. It's saves where the game's in the balance, or we're 1-0 down. It could be 2 and could be game over, and then we've come on to win the game. So, great stuff. Just on that one, that game was made for Pato, weren't it?
Yes.
Shit weather, like referees not very good, and he needs a bit of needle and everything else. And I mean, I know there was a bit of handcuffs, handbags, handcuffs. Steady on.
Sorry, James, I was going to make a joke about your Friday night there, but
let's not. But yeah, the handbags, and you'd think it'd be Pato, but you don't have thought it would be Johnson that's getting him. I just thought the game was made for him, to be fair.
100%. It was please don't throw Ike Ugbo into this. And I'm a big Ike Ugbo defender. Like, I'm a huge big Ike Ugbo defender. I think he's, I've spoken at length at kind of like, I think the value that he brings to the squad.
To be fair, he might be better as a defender. But anyway.
I knew that would fucking come in the minute I'd said it. But yeah, it was tailor-made for him yesterday. Horrible conditions, in the face of adversity. Chuck on that grey-haired rabid dog who's had 5 cans of Monster just sitting on the bench, wired, ready to go. It was absolutely perfect for him yesterday. And I think George has just mentioned it in the chat. This was the thing that was really vital with Callum Paterson coming onto the pitch. He won really important fouls in areas up the pitch that allowed us to just get set and advance. And even if we took a quick free kick and went backwards with it or whatever, which we didn't do much of yesterday, he did so well in winning those really important fouls. There was one in front of the north stand from where I was, where the ball got fired up to him and he felt a touch and he went down like he'd been shot. And it was the softest foul that was ever given, but he'd already been watching and studying the game and read, go down, why not? You might get it. It's a 50-50 chance, and otherwise I'm not keeping hold of the ball. It was perfect for him yesterday. I'm really, really pleased that he got his goal yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, at least their goalkeeper waited until after the game to get Beadle's shirt, whereas their defender thought, fuck it, I'm having Pato's shirt as soon as it comes on. How can it possibly have his shirt like round his neck, and yet the ref be like, it's literally like wave like, no, not a foul. Like, he's pulled his shirt. He's got it up over it. He hadn't done that himself.
That was the one right in front of the benches, wasn't it, James? I will say, like, I'm almost dead level with that. Callum Paterson, before the ball got there, was very much giving as good as he could get with that. He had the defender's shirt down. He was like tugging it off his neck. He was like giving him some elbows. Then the ball went up in the air. And yeah, you're right. His shirt was up over his sports bra by like the time the ball had actually been cleared. Yeah. But again, I think it's similar to what we bought him on for Derby, when we bought him on against Derby. Like his last 2 real impactful performances, like Derby and yesterday, the games with adversity, the games where the quality of the game isn't, free-flowing, it isn't sort of like that type of game. Perfect for him yesterday. Again, just another highlighting of outstanding game management by the manager.
Yeah. Just before we finish and go on to 3-word match view, just a shout out for Charlie McNeil. Absolute man of the match performance there. Came on for all of about 4 seconds. He actually got a touch of the ball as well. Instant impact for me.
Sorry, James, have you seen the Inside the Match Day where he's mouthing "at least I touched the ball"? Where it's someone comes up to him at the end and they're tapping him. I think it's Shalaba who's like tapping him and saying, "Oh, well done," and he goes, "At least I touched ball." Like, it's so funny. If you go back and watch it, it's only like a second or 2, but I had to watch it back like 2 times. I was like, has he said "at least I've touched the ball" there? And I will say, I am very sorry, Charlie. The first touch was a horror show because it went the wrong way where you were supposed to be going.
But do you know as well, just on that, when obviously Charles comes off, doesn't it? I don't know if you saw, so all the games being played in front of the North Stand and Charles is down there. And at first I thought, what's he doing running to the bench? He's not running to the bench. He's running to the heart, to like the middle of the pitch.
Yep.
So at that point, he doesn't have to go off at the nearest point, which is literally 4 steps. And you see it. He sees his number. Never seen him run so fast in my life. Honestly, he looks over to the referee to see what he's doing. Woof, he's off. And I'm like, he's someone that just knows the game of football. Do you know what I mean? He knows it inside out. He knows in every moment. No, we're 2-0 up with 10 men. He ran his bollocks off all game. And he gets subbed off right at the end. And he knows to sprint to the half, like to the middle of the pitch, so you can just slow walk, take the plaudits, take the claps from the fans, and walks off and just manages the game perfectly. Really.
Sorry, James. Just on that, there's another moment where he does it. Go back and have a look at the Deshan Bernard first booking. He's on the edge of the 18-yard area by the time the referee gets there to pick the player up. So Deshan Bernard gets beat, and fouls given, refs blown the whistle, he has already sprinted back to the 18-yard area to pick the ball up to give it back to Stoke. But it's to make it look like, as a covering defender there, he might not need to give it. It's again, it's just the level of footballing intelligence is just terrifying for a young man.
Just on that as well, he got booked. I did think that was a little bit silly, but is that the longest? Is that the longest a corner's ever been taken for there only to be 1 minute of added time in the first half?
Yeah. There was some baffling ones yesterday, which I do quite. Again, sorry to anybody who does sit by, mate. I do quite like winding him up because every time the fourth official puts the board up, no matter what the number is, I'll always go 1, and always just trying to get a bite off somebody. But yeah, it was when it went up yesterday, and it was going up for, it was 6 minutes, wasn't it, added time at the end of it, because everybody plays the guess how long it's going to be until the board goes up. The board goes up and you can hear people going, he's only going to give 5 here, 7, I think it's probably closer to 8, and then 6 goes up, and anybody who sat a couple of rows near me will just hear 6.
To be fair, you're not the only one, because you can hear that echoing around Hillsborough when it goes up, and then a bit of chuntering straight after. But yeah. Right, let's read some of the 3-word match reviews out then. Obviously at WTID Pod if you want to get involved after every game. Neil, love this team. Jack's on with ref is fuming. Ben 10 every week at home. I guess he's referring to players there. Andy, well done team. Oliver, great win that. Arnage Rob has gone with every man counted. Yeah, Do you know what? I would type it out after the win, saying that everyone to a man had a fantastic game. They had to kind of preface that with, apart from Deshan Bernard in the first half. Chris Day's just gone with Beadle. Mark, Danny fucking roll. Adam, slowly but surely. Yep, 100%. Awesome second half from Sean. Worst referee ever. Referee disaster class. Out of jail is what Stuart's put. We're going up is Kevin. Great team effort. I'll read one more. Alex Young has gone with Windass scores goals. Yeah, you're not wrong there at all. I were going to talk about the ref, but I think lots been spoken about it, because I want to get in some of these listeners' questions. We might talk about some of the players as well in a second, but I always ask for questions. I don't always get through all of them. However, a fantastic question to start off. What do you prefer? This is from Deck. Original Ferrero Rocher, the darker one, or the Raffaello?
It's original Ferrero Rocher, but again, that screams to me as being gifted a box from somebody at work, and he's got the multi-pack variety, and he's sat there been figuring out since Friday which one to open first.
Yeah, Deck, answer that one. Which one did you open first? Do you know what as well? I never buy them. You only get them given to you, don't you? You never ever, of all the choice that you can have, you are not sitting there going, I'll have a Ferrero Rocher, unless you're like some pretentious person that hasn't sat in the, and they've got to be in the pyramid as well, haven't they? Do you know what I mean? They've got to be in
plastic. I always think of them in that really solid plastic box that you get, which normally, if it was that solid a plastic box, you'd think I can repurpose this, but because it's perfectly shaped for a Ferrero Rocher, you think I can do fuck all with this.
Yeah, and it's triangle as well. Who puts things in a triangle? But yeah, I would say the original one, but only because I haven't tried the other two, so there we go. And we're keeping on the theme with fantastic Sheffield Wednesday themed questions here. Gareth's gone with, do Yorkshire puddings belong on a Christmas dinner?
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Yes. Next question.
Yeah, well, like, as if you don't have a Yorkshire pudding on your Christmas dinner. If I got a Christmas dinner without one, I'd be kicking off big time.
Oh, you got to restart everything. Everything's going in. Get in at half time, regroup. If it's your mother who's cooked it, get her into the kitchen and say, "Come on, you've had a shocker here. We need a better performance from you in second half. We'll get out for Boxing Day and we'll make this right, okay?" Like, that is just appalling. Anybody who's saying like you're not having those on Christmas dinner.
Yeah, get in the bin. Right, I think we've got a football question coming up now from Ben. He says here, it's become clear that now teams come to Hillsborough to stop us from playing. Brilliant testament to Danny and the boys, but how can we better deal with this and break teams down more convincingly? I'll just start by saying, I don't think teams come and stop us from playing. I think they just realise that we can't break teams down, so they'll just sit in and you know and kind of say to us, come on then, what can you do? I think we just got to do what we did against Oxford. The only problem is, I think us as fans have got to recognise that when you do throw the kitchen sink at it, you're gonna leave gaps at the back.
Yeah.
And I think the only good thing is that the teams that are going to sit in and let us do that are generally going to be the sides that are a little bit lower down the leagues. Your good sides, those that are in the top six, you know, looking to do well this season, aren't going to come to Hillsborough and like let us have the ball.
No,
I mean they should do.
100%.
But if they don't, we do struggle. But so do now throwing things at it. We are gonna see, you know, give chances away. But then that's when you've got to back your defenders and back your goalkeeper. And I think to be fair, we're in that situation where we 100% back the goalkeeper to make a save, don't we?
I think the short answer to that question, James, is get better in your recruitment gradually. We just need a rapid. If you're talking about how to sort that problem out before the end of the season, you've got to have a good January transfer window so that you can get a better quality of player who are more comfortable and more dominant on the ball and better with the ball than without it, because we are a better side predominantly this season without the ball. And when we do our work quickly in transition, if you're looking at it from a more how to actually go about this without a transfer window, personally, I think you've got to go to a 3 in midfield. I will keep banging that drum until the end of the season. I think if you play a 3 in midfield at home, I think it gives you more control. The onus is on you to dictate the ball. I think you can leave more gaps down the wide areas and you can push your wider, more attacking, more quote-unquote flair players into those positions, and you can let them do the damage further up the pitch. I think it encourages the entire team to move up the pitch as well, because actually your back line can then be just left back with your central defensive midfielder who sits on the edge of the centre circle and doesn't go anywhere further than that other than to recycle possession. You can then leave 2 centre-halves on the halfway line who can cover anything in behind and out in the wide areas. That would be what I would do personally. But again, thank fuck for everybody listening that I am not paid to think and make those decisions. Because at times, I think if you think about some of the goals that we've conceded at home, I'm thinking in particular the Cardiff one, it comes from not having defensive numbers back when we lose the ball. And we have then, we then have like players tear arse in it back, and that makes it much easier as an attacker to kind of like shape to do something and then go the other way and do something else. I think if you do play that 3, I think you're always then basically saying we're always going to leave 3 players back. But we've got more players in advantageous positions to go and take, I suppose, like go and take a game to a side rather than watching us kind of like sit off them and try and play a similar way to what we do at home, because we've seen a lot of this first half of the season and definitely in recent weeks at Hillsborough with the lower quality sides coming to Hillsborough, I suppose, in the division. They are happy to just sit in their own half, and actually the way in which that we play by dropping Bannon and Windass into those sort of like wing back positions and picking the ball up from there, that doesn't work effectively as effectively at home as it does away, because when we're away from home, a side is further up the pitch naturally. I don't know what the psychology in that is, by the way, James. I know we've talked a little bit about the home and away form this first half of the season so far. I don't know why a team away from home has to sit in. Like I don't get it. Like I've never understood it, because realistically, you should just carry on playing like you could have a couple of plans, but just carry on playing the way that you would like to. You don't just have to sit in and defend. Like Hillsborough isn't a fortress. You can come and attack us this year. But yeah, I suppose that's the two answers that I'd give, really. I think at home, without any investment, I think it's 3 in midfield. I think without that investment, with investment, I think you've just got to simply go and get players who are more comfortable on the ball in more advantageous positions.
Yeah, Alex has just put a question in there. Does Shea miss Middlesbrough game? He's got 5 cards now. No, he doesn't. No. It reset after 19, I want to say. Yeah. So the limit now is 10. But I think you do get a 2-game ban if you've picked up 10 cards. So yeah, there's no longer a suspension after 5. However, Deshan Bernard is missing 2 games because it's his 2nd red card of the season. So yeah, that's that one. One more before we talk about some other news. Noah's said, players you'd look to sell that we might get money from. And on that theme as well, Alex Young has also said, sell Charles if a Prem team comes in, then sign Beadle on a permanent. Let's address that first one first. Any players that you would look to sell in January?
Anthony Masaba would be one that I would be looking to sell if you are trying to raise funds, because he will have some capital next to his name currently. There will be a market for him. How much that market is worth, again, January's a crazy window. If you get a couple of players in, if you get a couple of teams in a bidding war from him, I'm not thinking anybody from England, because I don't think anybody from England would take the chance on him. But I do think that there is some resale value there. He's the outstanding one that screams to me. He hasn't really kicked on at all this season. No. I think Jedi Kasama, yes, is up and down, but he is definitely the better of the 2 players for me. I know Anthony Masaba's output is higher in terms of goals and assists, but I do think Jedi Kasama is the better player, and I think we look better with Kasama in that side than we do when we start with Anthony Masaba. In terms of on the second point that was raised surrounding Pierce Charles, I would be asking Brighton the question of how much they want for him, because that is a really viable option in terms of you've got Premier League clubs who are sniffing around him. We mentioned Liverpool a couple of weeks ago on Extra Time when we did a deep dive into Pierce Charles. I also know Aston Villa have been sniffing around him as well and making some inquiries there.
Here's one for you. Sorry to interrupt.
Go.
Swap deal?
Oh, yeah, that's fucking no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer, that is.
I mean, we'd probably have to pay a little bit of money as well. But it wouldn't be a lot, because you'd be saying, well, these are, Northern Ireland international, a little bit younger as well. It's kind of for them, it's like the same, not the same, but they're not really losing out a great deal because Beadle's not playing for him anyway. So
no, I mean that's a no-brainer. I think one thing that probably Brighton would look at, and I don't want this to stand against Pierce Charles and be a mark against his career for his entire time, the height difference between him and James Beadle is stark, and I think that would probably be the only. I mean, in terms of from a footballing perspective, there is no difference. James Beadle does everything that Pierce Charles does. Pierce Charles does everything that James Beadle does with the ball at his feet. You could probably make an argument in the games that we have, the very limited game time that we've seen from Pierce Charles, that his distribution is better than what we've seen from James Beadle.
It's less time in it from his head to his feet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah, 100%. Sorry, James, that's killed me. But it is one of those where, again, sorry, James, as somebody who's 6'3", I did have to think about that when she said it.
Are you talking with your feet now?
I was thinking there. I was thinking, hang on, it's going to go down there and then come back up. But it is one of those with Pierce Charles where could you offer him and say his market value currently, with that there are Premier League clubs taking an interest in him. Let's say he's worth £2 to £3 million. Could you then go on top of that and say to Brighton, okay, here's a £2 to £3 million goalkeeper who's similar age profile. No, he's not got the first team experience, but you can develop him because you've got a stable of good goalkeepers there while you're there. And actually, we'll chuck £3 million on top and we'll take James Beadle off your hands. Like it solves that to me seems to solve a problem for every single party. But having said that, it would be very nice to see us develop Pierce Charles and then in a couple of years' time sell him for 6 to 10.
It would, but if you're looking at the kind of the here and the now, there is always. I know he's played for Northern Ireland and he's played a few cup games and he's done all right. He hasn't played a full season of football yet.
No.
Always that question mark hanging over him, and I hope it doesn't. But we like we don't know how he's going to fare.
No.
Whereas we know what James Beadle's doing is with he's with the squad. It's just like a continuation and everything else. So yeah, look, I get what you're saying. It's just nice, but that's from a fan's perspective. That's just what you just want to be like. He's come through the academy. He's now playing. Beadle's in the England setup. He's been training with the England first team. Do you know what I mean? Like, you never know where that's gonna go. And would Beadle then be worth more money to us? When we're looking at that sort of thing, we don't. Is it going to happen? Probably not. But certainly, all right.
Is it going to happen? Absolutely not.
Yeah, it's all right to float the question. Right. I've got a lot of people asking about, what do we want in January? What's the shopping list look like? Who do we need? What areas need to strengthen? Because that's quite a big question. We are going to be talking about that on Extra Time. So if you want to hear about that, head over to Patreon, patreon.com/WTID pod. We'll be recording that immediately after this, so you won't have to wait long. It'll be certainly there this tomorrow morning. So yeah, get yourself over. 7-day free trial, no excuse not to sign up as well. Just before we talk about Borough briefly, since we last spoke, me and yourself, I know we obviously spoke on text and stuff. It's literally it's as if nothing's actually happened.
The world ended and it was put back together by Friday.
It did, because Danny was the manager last week. He's still the manager now. There was points in between that where I genuinely thought he wasn't going to be. But that's all kind of died down now. He did the press conference. They've got their manager, as in Southampton, and everything's all right. But Christ Almighty, what a week it's been!
Yeah.
I've subscribed to about 20 different Southampton channels just to stay tabs on what's happened. So apologies to all them, because you now lost a follower. It is me, so I've unsubscribed to every single one of them.
I was also going to say, James, apologies to anybody who is a workplace that employs a Sheffield Wednesday fan, because zero work got done Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I can assure you of that by any of those employees.
Yeah. Do you know what as well? It's messed my algorithm up as well, because I keep getting sent loads of Southampton videos. I'm not that interested in Southampton. It was just for a couple of days, so I need to get back. I need to get them back to cat videos and whatever else.
Yeah. I mean, Monday morning, we recorded on here this time last week, sat there on Sunday night, closed the laptop. The world seemed rosy because I hadn't checked my phone to see that Russell Martin had got sacked. Woke up on Monday morning to an absolute fucking shit show, and was just really surprised that come Wednesday, no announcement had been made, because for all the world, it seemed like the inevitable was about to happen in terms of Danny making grumblings in the 2 weeks leading up to this week, 2 weeks leading up to last Saturday, surrounding kind of like transfers and budgets, and we'll see how ambitious the club is and all the rest of it. And then by Wednesday, it all died down. But then some bastard in Germany decides I'm going to link them to Hamburg as well. And then it all starts up again. And everyone's going, oh, no, this is the serious one. This is the really serious one. It's not too far from his family. They're a massive club. And then again, he come out on Friday in his press conference. And we'll all give Danny a lot of credit for everything that he's done at Wednesday. The way he handled those questions on Friday where he was asked, he didn't try and shirk it. He didn't try and dodge it and say, look, I'm just here to talk about Sheffield Wednesday. He said, yep, let me address it now. I'm the Sheffield Wednesday manager. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to be the Sheffield Wednesday manager. That is pretty much the long and the short of it. For now, I will be here. So that's it. And that was so well done, because, again, do you remember it took me back to the sort of the Snake Bruce era of like when he was like straight batting questions, but there was always an open end, come and get me plea to Newcastle at the end of it. You know, it was always, well, Newcastle are a massive club and they're this and they're this, but I'm here at the minute, so it's fine. And then he batted his eyelashes once at them and they paid the £6 million compensation fee it was for him. Yeah. With this, it was, no, I'm not going. And the two jobs that you would think I'm going for, I'm not interested in. And it was just, oh, shit, all right then. Okay. Well, we can all calm down.
I felt really sorry for Lee in the Discord because his Christmas was cancelled, the decorations had come down, the tree was up, down, up, down. It was like a bit of hokey cokey, weren't it, in his house? So yeah, Lee, I do feel for you. I'm glad that the tree is up and the decorations are on because Christmas is well and truly back on, definitely. Yeah, it's just great that he's come out and said that, put it to rest, and also as well we go out and put that performance in and get the win.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because if had we not got the win, I know he come out and said what he said, but you think it's distracted us.
Yep.
We could see other things happen, kind of other times, because there's going to be a time where it is going to come, and obviously we've already kind of spoke about kind of needing to plan a lot better for that time. But at the moment, let's just enjoy Danny Real whilst we can. And also quickly, season tickets released as well.
20 minutes after Danny's announced he's staying, chairman straight in there. Right, good news, bad news.
Yeah. I mean, they haven't gone up.
No, if you're an adult. Yeah. Yeah, if you're an adult, they haven't gone up. But you have got 2 weeks to pay for it before it goes up. So cough up on the most expensive time of the year. I did see a tweet, which actually I thought was quite interesting. I couldn't argue with it. Like, there was no way that I could actually present a really good argument to it, aside from the timing of it, which was basically saying, here's all the pretending to be angry tweets that they didn't know this was coming for the last 12 months in terms of after they've bought it. And I did understand the sentiment to it in terms of, we knew when the chairman releases his season tickets. We always know it's this time of year. And yes, we always react the same. It's just year on year, you think you might learn a little bit in terms of, 2 weeks from when they were announced to when they go off sale at that frozen price rate? So actually...
Yeah, like, the communication could be better.
Yeah.
When they announce them, they don't have to go on sale immediately after they've announced them.
Nope.
How about giving us 2 to 4 weeks notice that they're going to be going on sale on a certain time?
Yep.
For quite a lot of people, it's one of the most expensive purchases, one-off purchases that they're going to make. You know, do you know what I mean? Like, aside from a car, and to be fair, people don't buy cars anymore. They just hire them, as it, or they have PCPs or whatever. Yep. So actually, in terms of lump sum cash, it is probably one of the biggest purchases. And yeah, we're just expected just to pay it. And yeah, I get it all. Everyone's going to be saying, well, save your money and this, that, and the other. Look, there's loads of things that you shouldn't do. You shouldn't drink 21 shots of Sambuca for starters.
No, you shouldn't. No, you fucking shouldn't, by the way.
There's lots of stuff you shouldn't do. But do you know what? You could just make it a bit easier for people. Because all it's doing, like, he'll be just saying people always buy them. People always buy the season tickets, and he'll have the numbers, and he'll know how many people have had season tickets for X number of years. But actually, it's just about it could win a few points, and I just feel like he doesn't really care, because if he did care, do you know what I mean? Like, you could just help the proceedings. Like I said, by giving us a little bit more notice. He'll just say, well, I've frozen the season ticket prices. Well done. But they're still really expensive compared to other football clubs. Yeah. But they're frozen. Like, all you're doing is, like, if you make them, you take the hit one year, but then you reap the rewards all the following years. Because everyone's gone, well, nothing's ever going to come down in price. Well, I get that. But we just seem to be accepting of it like that. It is what it is. It just costs this. It costs... For me, £570 on the North Stand to watch Sheffield Wednesday. And people have broken it down to, it's only £24 a game and everything else. But then now you get the argument of 12 kickoffs, Sunday kickoffs. And if you're in the Prem, we could probably just suck it up a little bit because we're in the Prem. But we're not. It's Stoke at 12 on a Saturday. Pissing it down. Well, it wasn't too bad, but absolutely blowing a gale.
Yeah.
So people are just going to sack it off because they're not really going to. If it were Man United, for example, and we've got to the Prem, people are looking at the fixtures and going, right, I'll book that day off if they work weekends or whatever. Whereas now, I've seen some people saying to take lad to football. He's got football Saturday morning. I can make the 3 o'clock games. I can't make the 12:30 games. Yep. You, for example, has to drive a little bit further. It makes it a bit more difficult. There's loads of stuff. So people actually now will be like, yeah, I'm not going to do it. Because of other factors, but if it's a bit cheaper, maybe I might. But yeah, I'll get off my soapbox now.
No, you're right, James. You're 100% right to stand on that soapbox and keep peddling that, because it seems that not every Sheffield Wednesday fan, the majority of Sheffield Wednesday fans are doing so, and it's still not being heard. But what can you do other than have a voice on the matter? in terms of obviously providing the information that was given from that tweet, it's nothing for more than balance. Like, me and you have made our feelings perfectly clear on the chairman, and also perfectly clear on this situation when it arises every year. We pay too much for the football that we watch. We ultimately have to find a way of financing this at the cheaper rate, if by hook or by crook, because we're not in the fortunate position that... So Andy, who I sit next to, he is very forward thinking and plans it every... He's a very responsible adult. Like, genuinely, he's a very responsible adult. He's a very nice man.
He's not one of them people that has them fold. I've seen him on TikTok.
No.
People that have the folders, putting all the £5 in all the different things. He's not one of
them. I don't think so, no, but he's a very, very responsible adult. Really, really, really nice man. But even he came in pissed on Friday and just hit renew. Like, he just said, because when I spoke to him, he went, well, I've renewed, because if I don't renew now, well, when am I gonna? Like, I've got to do it now. And he was open and said, I'm just in a fortunate enough position where I can do. Whereas,
do you know the other thing as well? He's done it like, what, a week before Christmas. Do you know if he's going to do it early? Just do it like maybe 3 or 4 weeks before, and people might actually buy them for people for Christmas presents.
It's just,
I mean, there might be people out there. They go, look, you're not. Certainly, if people are a little bit older, look, sorted your season ticket. I've bought you a season ticket for Wednesday. Yeah. Like, I know you can still do that, but it's nice to have some. You know, I suppose you don't really get anything tangible, but you've done it. You've sorted it. You can't. Yeah. You could say, "Oh, I'll get it when it comes out," but actually, to have done, I've done it. Here you go. Here's the thing that says you've got one. I mean, anyway, we could talk for hours and hours and hours.
The short story is, it's just fucking ludicrous timing and ludicrous prices, but nothing shocking to any of us.
Yeah, let's talk about the next game then. It's Borough. It's the game that we looked at and thought this is going to be a difficult game. A little bit like the Blackburn one, in that didn't look, you know, where they were in the league. By the time we come to play them, they've obviously they shot up a little bit. As in, well, the Borough of we saw it as a difficult game, but now we've shot up a little bit and we're only 3 points away from them. Michael Carrick's the gaffer still. I think when I spoke to the Borough fan, because I've already done the preview show already with it being Christmas coming up, but I was just saying, I think he's like 16th or 17th in the longest serving EFL managers. It's just crazy. He's not even been there just over 2 years now. But their form, isn't as good as ours, although they are pretty much like us in terms of win, draw, loss. Yeah. Loss, win, draw, loss, win, draw in their last 6. So 8 points from a possible 18. An absolute ding-dong of a game yesterday, 3-3 with Plymouth. Yeah. Came back from behind 3 times to equalise, which was quite funny for the... us and Plymouth seem to have this, like, odd rivalry.
Yeah.
It's just really bizarre.
Yeah.
Started
in the fires of League One.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about it, but anyway. But yeah, they're 6th in the league, like I said, 3 points ahead of us. How do you see this one panning out? Obviously, it's on Boxing Day. Of course, we're away. It's on Boxing Day. But how do you see this one? Because I don't see it as much of a challenging game as it was presented to me kind of 4 or 5 weeks ago, if you know what I mean.
I understand what you mean by the sentiment, James, but I am also very much of, having gone up to Middlesbrough plenty of times, I'm not of the illusion that this is going to be... Because Borough are that side that can just catch fire. And then they go on runs where, not like really streaky runs where they batter teams like Southampton did like last year, where it was, like 20 games unbeaten or whatever it was. But they go on games where you look at their results and you just think, oh, won again, top 6 for them. That's nailed on. There's one place gone. Yeah. And they will be there or thereabouts at the end of the season. Of course they will. I just look at it and think, away from home, if you offered me a draw now, I would rip your hand off it and rip your hand off for it and go and enjoy my Christmas. Absolutely bite your hand off it, because again, all it takes for them is to, similar to what we saw at Easter last year, all it takes for them is just to click, and you're nowhere near it. And that's, I know we've improved, and I know we're a much better side than we were last year, the side that went up to the Riverside around Easter last year. But ultimately, they are still, on paper, a really, really scary team with a very, very good manager who has consistently been at the top of the division. Now, the other side of that coin is, I will say, we are coming off back-to-back wins for the first time in a long, long time. Our squad is, providing everybody gets over illness, people are fit and healthy. We've got arguably one of the best managers, if not the best manager in the division currently at the helm. And we've got a side that are consistently overperforming in the face of adversity. And it's away from home, which is mental to say that we're better away from home.
And they're going to come at us. And we,
as
we've been speaking about before, we're better when we are, the slight underdog, and also when we can hit a team on a break. You know, and so it's kind of almost playing into our hands. The only other thing is, though, they score goals for fun.
Yeah.
38 goals they've scored this season, which is the second most behind Leeds, who have got 41. I mean, they do concede quite a few, although saying that, we've still conceded more than them, 28 to our 30. But they miss a lot of chances as well. And I think the other thing is, I was looking at, I can't remember what stat it was that I was looking at, because when I was talking to Johnny from the Middlesbrough podcast, what was it now? He told me that Borough will give you chances. If you want to listen to that, by the way, it is over on Patreon. So do head over. Defensive actions, errors. So errors that result in shots on goal. We actually only have on that metric 3, which is the best.
That's fucking stupid.
Middlesbrough 14, and that's the top. So what he's saying is that they insist on passing out from the back, and sometimes you just cannot do it. And they will give us chances. So I feel like it's going to be the battle of whoever takes your chance, because as we know, defensively, as much as we've been waxing lyrical, we're not like super strong defensively. We will give them chances. We do concede goals. So they had a 3-3 at the weekend. It wouldn't surprise me if it was another 3-3. And as Alex says there, whoever wins gets Louis Barry.
I'll take that. I'll absolutely take that. Ignore everybody else in the division who fucking wants him as well. But yeah, 100%. I'll be honest, James. I'm going to go for a draw for this. I think from what you've just said there, I think in terms of the disruption that we've got to our defensive back line in Deshan Bernard coming out. Word for Gabe Ottagbayo yesterday when he came on at half-time, he was outstanding. The highest compliment that I can pay for him is that you didn't notice it was only his second league appearance for us. He was unbelievable when he come on yesterday. But again, I do think that with that disruption to the defensive back line, when we've seen that previously, I'm thinking Watford, those type of games, we struggle to adjust and adapt to it. We're also going up against, I know Latte Lath hasn't caught fire like he did last year, but we are going up against one of the better strikers within the division as well. And Middlesbrough have got quality all over the pitch, people like Finn Azaz, just to name one. I think a draw, if you offered it me now, I'd take your hand for it, but I also do think on the weekend that it's going to be a draw. But I do think, I agree with you, I think it's going to be a game of, you're going to get at least 2 or 3 chances. Can you take them? Because if you do, yes, they have the opportunity to score, but we are good at the minute. Yes, we might concede one, but we are good at protecting when we go in front now. And it's just about whether you can manage the game. It would also be nice to have another positive result from a team who are above us.
Yeah, I mean, the only difference is when you talk about Latte Lath, they've also got Conway on 8, and they've got Finn Azaz on 6. You look down, there's a lot of Middlesbrough references. Yeah, we've got Windass on 7 goals, which I mean, there's a lot of Middlesbrough players that are scoring goals. So they've got goals coming from various areas. I agree with you. I would take a point now, 100%. I would also say as well, as much as we're looking and we're going, we can get into the top 6. Like we've said when we play the likes of Burnleys and Leeds and stuff like that. Realistically, our battle is not with Middlesbrough. They're looking to get into the Premier League next season and probably got a squad that's good enough to do that. We haven't. Let's be realistic and let's be honest about it. We're here and we're like kind of dreaming that we might get there. And it still might get there even if we lose to Middlesbrough as well away from home. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not the be-all and end-all. So look, if it doesn't, I know it'll be another Christmas ruined and everything else, but let's not let it ruin this Christmas if that happens.
Sorry, James, I could just see fucking meltdown after it's 1-0 and we've actually played all right. And everyone, this was fucking shit. What a mistake that was.
There'll be turkey and stuffing balls being thrown everywhere when when that shit goes down on Boxing Day. But yeah, right, let's wrap things up there. Massive thanks everyone for listening. Massive thanks everyone that's tuned in live. Of course, if you listen to this after and you want to think, oh, when did they record? 8 o'clock on Sunday on YouTube, on X as well, so you can watch us as well as listening to us, of course, and get involved in all the discussions and chat. All left to say is Merry Christmas, everyone. I'm not going to break into the song, and hope you have a good one. There will be no debate show this week because on Wednesday we're a little bit preoccupied, so that'll be returning the following week, possibly, or maybe even the week after that because it's New Year. Anyway, check the socials; you'll find out when that one's coming back. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone, and we'll see you all next time. Cheers.